The Galactic Empire, a vast and powerful civilization that had conquered countless star systems, now set its sights on a new frontier, the uncharted region of space where a small blue planet called Earth resided. For centuries, the Empire had expanded its dominion, subjugating alien races and harvesting the resources of distant worlds to fuel its insatiable appetite for growth and progress. Its leaders, driven by an unwavering belief in the superiority of their culture and technology, saw the discovery of this new planet as an opportunity to add yet another trophy to their ever-growing empire. The decision to dispatch a reconnaissance fleet to survey Earth and its inhabitants was made swiftly and without hesitation. The Imperial commanders were confident that any primitive species dwelling on this remote world would pose little resistance to the might of the Galactic Empire. As the fleet of sleek, advanced spacecraft made its way towards the distant planet, the reconnaissance team prepared to make first contact with the inhabitants of Earth. They had studied the limited information gathered by earlier exploratory missions and were eager to see how this new civilization would measure up to the standards of the Empire. When the massive vessels entered the orbit of the Blue World, the leaders of Earth's nations were caught off guard. Panic and uncertainty gripped the international community as the true scale and power of the invading force became apparent. Desperate diplomatic efforts were made to establish communication and initiate peaceful negotiations, but the Imperial commanders remained steadfast in their belief in the Empire's manifest destiny. The reconnaissance team, led by a seasoned and arrogant commander named Xyloth, made its way to the surface of the planet, landing in a remote region far from the major population centers. Their orders were to assess the technological and military capabilities of the inhabitants, as well as to gather intelligence on the political and social structures of this newfound civilization. As Xyloth and his team stepped out of their sleek, angular spacecraft, they were immediately struck by the lush, verdant landscapes and the temperate climate of the planet. The air was fresh, and the skies were a brilliant shade of blue, a stark contrast to the barren, industrialized worlds they were accustomed to. However, the Imperial commander's initial awe quickly gave way to a sense of dismissal. "Primitive," he muttered, surveying the simple dwellings and the curious, wary expressions of the local inhabitants who had gathered to observe the alien visitors. Xyloth's team quickly set to work, deploying advanced scanning and surveillance equipment to gather data on the planet and its people. They noted the diversity of the human population, the complex network of nations and governments, and the apparent technological limitations of the civilization. As the reconnaissance mission progressed, the Imperial commander grew increasingly confident in his assessment. "This world poses no threat to the Galactic Empire," he declared to his subordinates. "Its people are weak, their technology primitive. It will be a simple matter to incorporate this planet into our dominion." Little did Xyloth know, however, that the human species, despite their seeming technological inferiority, possessed a remarkable resilience and adaptability that had been forged through millennia of struggle and innovation. The inhabitants of Earth, while initially caught off guard by the arrival of the alien visitors, were not the passive, docile subjects the Imperial commander had assumed them to be. As the reconnaissance team prepared to depart, transmitting their findings back to the Galactic Empire, a subtle shift began to take place. The humans, sensing the true nature of the invaders' intentions, began to mobilize their own resources, determined to protect their homeworld at all costs. What Xyloth and his team had dismissed as a primitive, insignificant civilization was about to prove them gravely mistaken. The Galactic Empire's arrival on Earth had set in motion a chain of events that would forever alter the course of both human and galactic history. As the Galactic Empire's reconnaissance fleet prepared to depart the blue planet known as Earth, the leaders of the world's nations scrambled to respond to the unexpected arrival of the alien visitors. Tensions were high as the governments of Earth attempted to establish diplomatic channels with the Imperial commanders. Cautious overtures were made, with the human representatives hoping to avert a confrontation and open a dialogue that could lead to a peaceful coexistence. However, the arrogant and dismissive attitude of the Imperial commander, Xyloth, quickly dashed any hopes of a smooth first contact. He viewed the humans as little more than primitive savages, unworthy of the Empire's consideration or respect. "These people pose no threat to us," Xyloth scoffed, as he relayed his assessment to the distant Imperial command. "Their technology is rudimentary, their military capabilities laughable. We can easily subjugate this world and add it to the glory of the Empire." Unbeknownst to the Imperial commander, his assessment of the human race was dangerously flawed. While the people of Earth were indeed technologically behind the Galactic Empire, they possessed a fierce determination and an innate resilience that would prove to be a formidable challenge. As the reconnaissance fleet prepared to depart, the human leaders, sensing the true intentions of the alien visitors, made a bold decision. They would not simply stand by and allow their world to be conquered without a fight. Coordinating their efforts across national boundaries, the nations of Earth mobilized their military forces, positioning them in strategic locations around the planet. Weapon systems were activated and defensive measures were put in place, all while diplomatic channels remained open in a last-ditch effort to avert a violent confrontation. When the Imperial fleet attempted to make its final approach, ready to depart the planet, it was met with a barrage of energy weapons and missile strikes from the human defenders. The sleek, advanced spacecraft of the Galactic Empire found themselves under a relentless assault, their shields and weapons systems overwhelmed by the unexpected ferocity of the human response. Xyloth, his arrogance shattered, watched in disbelief as his reconnaissance team was forced to retreat, their mission a resounding failure. The human military had not only managed to repel the Imperial incursion, but had also inflicted significant damage on the alien vessels. As the battered fleet limped back into the void of space, Xyloth's mind raced with a mixture of confusion and fury. How could these primitives resist the might of the Galactic Empire? He growled, his hands clenched into fists. The news of the failed first contact and the unexpected human resistance quickly spread through the vast territories of the Galactic Empire. The ruling council, stunned by the revelation, convened emergency sessions to assess the implications of this unexpected development. For the first time in centuries, the Imperial leadership found themselves confronted with a challenge that shook the very foundations of their belief in the superiority of their civilization. The humans, a species they had so casually dismissed, had proven to be a formidable adversary, capable of defending their home world with a level of skill and determination that defied the Empire's expectations. As the echoes of the failed first contact reverberated through the corridors of power, the Galactic Empire's command structure began to grapple with a stark realization. The conquest of Earth would not be the simple, straightforward affair they had envisioned. The humans, it seemed, were far more than just primitive savages. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the Empire would need to reassess its strategy if it hoped to prevail. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the limits of both the Galactic Empire's might and the human race's determination to defend its homeworld at all costs. The failure of the Galactic Empire's initial reconnaissance mission to Earth sent shockwaves through the ruling council, shattering their confidence in the inevitability of their conquest. However, the Imperial leadership was not one to be deterred by a single setback. Determined to add the Blue Planet and its resourceful inhabitants to their ever-expanding dominion, the command structure began to devise a comprehensive invasion plan, drawing upon the vast resources and military might of the Empire. Xyloth, the disgraced commander of the failed reconnaissance mission, found himself summoned before the council, his fate hanging in the balance. Yet, rather than face punishment, he was given a second chance, an opportunity to redeem himself and prove the worth of the Galactic Empire's might. "You underestimated the humans," the council's lead advisor stated, his voice cold and unwavering. "Now, you will have the chance to rectify your mistake. Devise a strategy to subjugate this planet, and you will be granted the honor of leading the invasion force." Xyloth, his wounded pride fueling his ambition, gladly accepted the challenge. He set to work, poring over the data gathered during the reconnaissance mission. analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of the human civilization. In the meantime, the Imperial Command mobilized its vast resources, deploying a formidable armada of warships and dispatching elite ground forces to prepare for the impending invasion of Earth. As the Galactic Empire's forces amassed on the edge of the human-controlled systems, the leaders of Earth's nations scrambled to mount a unified defense. They knew that the fate of their world hung in the balance, and they could not afford to falter in the face of this alien threat. Diplomatic efforts continued, with the human representatives pleading for a peaceful resolution, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. The Imperial Command had made its decision. Earth would be brought under the Empire's rule, regardless of the cost. Xyloth's invasion plan was a masterpiece of military strategy, drawing upon the Empire's technological superiority and the sheer scale of its forces. The Armada would divide into multiple task forces, each targeting a specific region of the planet, overwhelming the human defenders with a coordinated, devastating assault. As the Imperial fleet moved into position, the people of Earth braced themselves for the impending onslaught. They knew that their only chance of survival lay in their ability to mount a fierce and unified resistance, drawing upon every resource at their disposal. The stage was set for a cataclysmic clash between the might of the Galactic Empire and the determination of the human race. Both sides were fully committed to their cause, unwilling to back down in the face of the other's resolve. In the days leading up to the invasion, the tension on Earth reached a fever pitch. Families bid their farewells, soldiers donned their armor, and scientists worked tirelessly to develop new technologies that might give the human defenders an edge. As the Imperial Armada moved in, the skies above Earth erupted in a dazzling display of light and fury. The human military, marshaling every available asset, met the invaders with a fierce and unyielding resistance, determined to protect their homeworld at all costs. The fate of the planet hung in the balance, as the two civilizations engaged in a titanic struggle that would echo through the annals of history. Neither side was willing to concede defeat, and the outcome of the battle would have far-reaching consequences for the future of both the Galactic Empire and the human race. As the mighty Galactic Empire's invasion force drew ever closer to Earth, the leaders of the world's nations knew that the moment of reckoning had arrived. They had spent countless hours preparing their defenses, stockpiling weapons, and training their military personnel, but they were all too aware that the sheer scale and technological superiority of the Imperial Armada posed a daunting challenge. Yet, in the face of this seemingly insurmountable threat, a remarkable human resistance movement began to emerge, fueled by a fierce determination to protect their home planet at all costs. At the forefront of this resistance was a charismatic and strategic-minded commander, a former military officer who had spent decades honing his skills and studying the tactics of the Galactic Empire. He rallied the disparate nations of Earth, forging a unified command structure that would coordinate the global defense effort. "We may not be able to match the Empire's firepower or technology," the commander declared to his troops, "but we have something they can never truly understand: the unbreakable spirit of the human race. We will fight for our homes, our families, and our very way of life. They will not take this world from us without a battle that will echo through the stars." His words resonated with the people of Earth, inspiring them to take up arms and join the resistance. Guerrilla cells were formed, deploying innovative tactics and unconventional weapons to harass and disrupt the Imperial forces. As the Galactic Empire's fleet approached, the human defenders unleashed a series of coordinated attacks, using their intimate knowledge of the planet's terrain and resources to their advantage. Ambushes, sabotage, and hit-and-run strikes took a heavy toll on the invading Armada, slowing its advance and sowing confusion among the Imperial commanders. Xyloth, the disgraced leader of the failed reconnaissance mission, found himself increasingly frustrated by the tenacity and adaptability of the human resistance. His carefully crafted invasion plan, which had seemed unstoppable on paper, was now facing unexpected challenges at every turn. "These primitives are more resourceful than we anticipated," he growled, his fists clenching in anger. "We must find a way to break their will and crush their pathetic resistance once and for all. The human defenders, however, were not easily cowed. They continued to adapt and evolve their tactics, using the very elements of their world to their advantage. Guerrilla fighters expertly navigated the dense forests and rugged terrain, while engineers developed innovative weapons and defensive systems that caught the Imperial forces off guard. As the battle for Earth raged on, the Galactic Empire's commanders were forced to reconsider their assumptions about the human race. The resilience and resourcefulness of the defenders were qualities they had not anticipated, and their stubborn refusal to surrender threatened to unravel the entire invasion plan. In the end, the human resistance had managed to stall the Imperial advance, buying precious time for the global defense effort to solidify and prepare for the inevitable onslaught. The stage was set for a climactic showdown that would test the limits of both the Galactic Empire's might and the human race's determination to protect their homeworld. As the Galactic Empire's invasion force continued its relentless advance towards Earth, the frustration of the Imperial commanders grew with each passing day. The human resistance, far from being the easy conquest they had anticipated, had proven to be a formidable adversary, disrupting their carefully laid plans at every turn. Xyloth, the disgraced leader who had been given the chance to redeem himself, found his reputation and his patience wearing thin. The arrogance that had once fueled his confidence had given way to a growing sense of unease as the human defenders continued to defy the Empire's might. "How can these primitive beings continue to resist us?" he demanded, slamming his fist on the tactical display. "Their technology is inferior, their forces outmatched. They should be cowering before the power of the Galactic Empire." The Imperial advisors, sensing Xyloth's growing desperation, urged him to consider more aggressive tactics. "If they will not surrender, then we must break their will by any means necessary," one of them suggested. "Unleash the full force of our arsenal upon them. Show them the true cost of defying the Empire." Xyloth, his pride wounded and his temper flaring, readily agreed. He ordered his forces to abandon the careful, methodical approach that had characterized the initial stages of the invasion, instead opting for a campaign of overwhelming brutality. Civilian centers were bombed, infrastructure was destroyed, and the human resistance fighters were mercilessly hunted down and eliminated. The Imperial troops, hardened by countless campaigns of conquest, showed no mercy to the defenders of Earth. Yet, even as the human casualties mounted and the devastation spread across the planet, the resistance refused to be broken. The people of Earth, fueled by a determination that seemed to defy all logic, continued to adapt and find new ways to frustrate the Imperial onslaught. Guerrilla tactics became even more daring, with small teams of fighters launching lightning strikes against the Galactic Empire's supply lines and communication networks. Engineers and scientists, working tirelessly in hidden laboratories, developed new technologies and weapons that gave the human defenders an unexpected edge. Xyloth and his commanders, unable to comprehend the depth of the human spirit, grew increasingly unnerved by the stubborn refusal of the defenders to submit. Their preconceptions about the weakness and primitiveness of the human race were being shattered, replaced by a dawning realization that they had severely underestimated their opponent. As the conflict escalated, the Galactic Empire found itself embroiled in a war of attrition that it had not anticipated. The human resistance, while outmatched in terms of technology and resources, possessed an unbreakable will and an uncanny ability to adapt and innovate in the face of adversity. The stakes of this war, once seen as a simple conquest, began to take on greater significance for the Imperial leadership. The potential loss of Earth and its people threatened to undermine the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's power and prestige, challenging the belief in their manifest destiny to dominate the cosmos. Xyloth, his once vaunted military strategies proving insufficient, found himself increasingly at odds with the Empire's command structure. The once confident commander now faced the very real possibility of failure, a prospect that filled him with a growing sense of dread and uncertainty. The future of both the Galactic Empire and the human race hung in the balance, as the two civilizations engaged in a titanic struggle that would test the limits of their respective strengths and resolve. The outcome of this conflict would not only determine the fate of Earth, but also reshape the very course of galactic history. As the Galactic Empire's brutal campaign against the human resistance continued to grind on, the people of Earth found themselves in a desperate struggle for survival. The relentless onslaught of the Imperial forces had taken a heavy toll, and the defenders were beginning to feel the strain of their ongoing battle. However, even in the face of this seemingly insurmountable challenge, a remarkable technological breakthrough emerged from the human resistance movement, one that would potentially shift the balance of power in the conflict. Deep within a network of hidden laboratories, the brightest scientific minds of Earth had been working tirelessly, driven by a singular goal: to develop a weapon or system that could turn the tide against the Galactic Empire's superior technology and firepower. It was a risky and ambitious undertaking, fraught with uncertainty and the constant threat of discovery by the Imperial forces. But the human defenders were determined to find a way to level the playing field, no matter the cost. As the project neared completion, the Resistance commanders convened a secret meeting to discuss the implications of their breakthrough. The stakes were high, and they knew that the success or failure of this endeavor could be the deciding factor in the war for their homeworld. "This is our chance," the lead scientist announced, her eyes alight with a fierce determination. "If we can successfully deploy this new technology, it could give us the edge we need to push back the Imperial invasion." The Resistance commanders listened intently, their expressions a mixture of hope and trepidation. They understood the risks involved, but the potential rewards were too tempting to ignore. "We must act quickly," one of the commanders stated, his brow furrowed in concentration. "The Imperial forces are closing in, and we cannot afford to miss this opportunity. Prepare the deployment and alert our forces to be ready." With a nod, the scientists set to work, mobilizing their teams to ready the new technology for its first critical test. The tension in the room was palpable, as everyone present knew that the fate of Earth itself hung in the balance. As the deployment unfolded, the human resistance fighters braced themselves for the confrontation. They had witnessed the devastating power of the Galactic Empire's arsenal, and they knew that this newfound technology would need to be nothing short of a game-changer if they were to have any hope of prevailing. When the moment of truth arrived, the skies above the embattled planet erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy. The Imperial forces, caught off guard by the sudden activation of the human weapon, found themselves overwhelmed by its sheer power and effectiveness. Zyloth, the disgraced Imperial commander, watched in disbelief as his carefully orchestrated strategies crumbled in the face of this unexpected development. The human resistance had managed to neutralize the Empire's technological superiority, and the tide of the battle began to turn in their favor. "Impossible!" Zyloth roared, his fists clenched in rage. How could these primitives have developed such a potent weapon? The answer, of course, lay in the unwavering spirit and relentless determination of the human defenders. They had drawn upon their innate creativity, their adaptability, and their refusal to surrender in the face of overwhelming odds to craft a technological breakthrough that shook the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's might. As the battle raged on, the human resistance, emboldened by their newfound advantage, launched a series of coordinated counterattacks that pushed the Imperial forces back. The Galactic Empire, once so confident in its ability to subjugate the people of Earth, now found itself facing a dire predicament. A predicament that would force it to reevaluate its strategies and its assumptions about the human race. The future of both civilizations hung in the balance, as the conflict escalated into a high-stakes game of technological one-upmanship, with the fate of the entire planet at stake. The Galactic Empire's invasion of Earth had quickly spiraled into a quagmire, with the human resistance's unexpected technological breakthrough turning the tide of the conflict. The Imperial forces, once so confident in their ability to subjugate the primitive inhabitants of the Blue Planet, now found themselves reeling from the devastating power of the human-developed weapon. Zyloth, The disgraced commander who had been entrusted with leading the invasion watched with growing unease as his carefully crafted strategies crumbled in the face of this new challenge. The losses suffered by his troops were mounting, and the momentum of the battle had shifted firmly in favor of the human defenders. Sensing the gravity of the situation, the Galactic Empire's leadership in the distant command centers convened a series of emergency meetings to discuss the troubling developments. The once unthinkable prospect of a retreat was now on the table, as the ruling council grappled with the implications of a potential defeat. "This was not supposed to happen," one of the council members lamented, his brow furrowed in consternation. "Our military might is unparalleled. How could these humans have developed a weapon capable of such devastation?" Zoloth, summoned before the council, could only offer a grim report of the ongoing battle. "The human resistance has found a way to negate our technological advantages," he admitted, his pride clearly wounded. "If we continue this campaign, we risk sustaining crippling losses that could threaten the stability of the Empire." The council members exchanged troubled glances, their expressions reflecting the weight of the decision they now faced. The prospect of withdrawing from Earth and conceding defeat was a bitter pill to swallow, as it would undermine the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's power and reputation. However, the alternative, a prolonged and costly conflict that could jeopardize the overall strength of the Empire, was equally unpalatable. The council members found themselves caught in a tangled web of conflicting priorities and concerns. After hours of heated debate, the ruling council reached a decision. Zoloth, his leadership now in doubt, was relieved of his command, and a new strategy was put in place, one that would prioritize a tactical withdrawal and a revaluation of their approach to the human race. "We cannot afford to squander our resources on this planet," the lead council member announced, his voice grave. "The human resistance has proven more formidable than we anticipated. For now, we will retreat and regroup, but make no mistake, we will return, and we will be better prepared to deal with this threat." The news of the Galactic Empire's decision to withdraw sent shockwaves through the human resistance movement. The people of Earth, who had fought so fiercely to defend their home, were both relieved and wary of the sudden retreat. "They will return," the resistance commander warned, his eyes narrowing. "We must use this time to strengthen our defenses and prepare for the next confrontation. The Galactic Empire will not give up so easily." As the Imperial forces made their hasty departure from the battered planet, the human defenders began the arduous task of repairing the damage and rebuilding their shattered cities. But they knew that their victory, while significant, was far from complete. The Galactic Empire's withdrawal was merely a temporary respite, and the specter of their return would continue to loom over the future of the human race. The stage was set for a new chapter in the ongoing struggle, one that would test the limits of both the Galactic Empire's determination and the human civilization's resilience. With the Galactic Empire's withdrawal from Earth, the nations of the world found themselves facing a daunting task: the arduous process of rebuilding and recovery from the devastating conflict that had ravaged their home planet. The scars of the war were deep, both physical and psychological. Cities lay in ruins, infrastructure had been decimated, and the loss of life weighed heavily on the hearts and minds of the people. Yet, amidst the despair and devastation, a newfound sense of unity and determination began to emerge. The shared experiences of the human resistance, the triumph over the seemingly insurmountable might of the Galactic Empire, had forged an unbreakable bond among the people of Earth. They knew that only by working together, pooling their resources and their talents, could they truly rebuild and prepare for any future encounters with the alien civilization. "We have shown the Galactic Empire that we are not to be underestimated," the resistance commander, now hailed as a national hero, declared to a crowd of cheering supporters. "Now, it is our duty to ensure that our world emerges from this conflict stronger than ever before." The leaders of the world's nations, once divided by ideological and political differences, now found themselves united in a common cause. They established coordinated efforts to repair the damage, restore essential services, and bolster the planet's defenses. Scientists and engineers, inspired by the human resistance's technological breakthrough, dedicated themselves to further advancing their capabilities. They pushed the boundaries of what was once thought possible, driven by a desire to ensure that Earth would never again be caught off guard by a superior alien power. The people of Earth, empowered by their victory and the newfound unity of their global community, embraced the challenge of reconstruction with a fervor that defied the scale of the task at hand. Across the planet, communities rallied together, pooling their collective knowledge and resources to rebuild and strengthen their cities, their economies, and their military. The resistance commanders, now recognized as leaders on the world stage, took on the responsibility of guiding this unprecedented effort. They worked tirelessly to coordinate the global response, ensuring that the lessons learned from the conflict were applied to the benefit of all humanity. "We have tasted the bitter reality of facing an extraterrestrial threat," the lead commander said, addressing the representatives of the world's nations. "But we have also discovered the true power of our unity. Now we must harness that power to secure our future and to ensure that the Galactic Empire, or any other civilization, will think twice before attempting to subjugate our world again." The people of Earth, inspired by the commander's words, threw themselves into the work of rebuilding and fortifying their planet. They knew that the respite granted by the Galactic Empire's withdrawal was only temporary, and that the looming threat of the alien civilization's return would continue to loom large over their future. As the months turned into years, the scars of the war began to heal, and a new sense of purpose and confidence emerged among the human race. The world that had once been caught off guard by the arrival of the Galactic Empire now stood ready, its defenses bolstered and its spirit unbroken, to face whatever challenges the cosmos might bring. The stage was set for the next chapter in the ongoing saga, a chapter in which the people of Earth, no longer seen as mere primitives, would take their place as a formidable player in the complex geopolitical dynamics of the known universe. In the aftermath of their failed invasion of Earth, the Galactic Empire's leadership found themselves in the midst of a profound reckoning. The stunning defeat at the hands of the human resistance had shaken the very foundations of their belief in the unassailable might of the Empire, forcing them to reevaluate their understanding of the species they had once so casually dismissed as primitive. Xyloth, the disgraced commander whose overconfidence had contributed to the Imperial force's downfall, had been stripped of his command and forced to undergo a humiliating public inquiry. His once vaunted reputation lay in tatters, a cautionary tale for those who dared to underestimate the capabilities of the human race. As the Galactic Empire's command structure grappled with the implications of this defeat, a growing sentiment of wary respect began to emerge, replacing the initial arrogance and dismissiveness that had characterized their approach to Earth. "These humans," one of the council members mused, "have proven themselves to be a formidable adversary, capable of adapting and innovating in ways we never anticipated. We must re-examine our assumptions and tread carefully in any future dealings with their civilization." The decision to withdraw from Earth had been a bitter pill to swallow, but the Imperial leadership now recognized that it had been a necessary step to prevent further losses and maintain the overall strength of the Empire. However, they also knew that the respite granted to the human defenders would be temporary. The Galactic Empire could not afford to ignore this newfound challenge to their dominance. Surveillance drones and intelligence-gathering operations were deployed to monitor the progress of Earth's reconstruction and defense efforts as the Imperial Command sought to better understand the capabilities and intentions of the human race. The prospect of a renewed confrontation loomed large, but this time, the Galactic Empire would be better prepared to deal with the threat. "We cannot afford to make the same mistakes again," the lead council member stated, his voice tinged with a sense of determination. "The humans have shown us that they are worthy of our respect, and we must approach any future interactions with a greater degree of caution and understanding." As the years passed, the Galactic Empire maintained a watchful eye on the activities of the human civilization, wary of provoking their wrath once more. The people of Earth, meanwhile, continued to strengthen their defenses, driven by a keen awareness of the fragility of their hard-won victory and the need to be ever vigilant against the potential return of the alien invaders. The relationship between the two civilizations remained a tenuous one, marked by a delicate balance of cautious diplomacy and underlying tension. The Galactic Empire, its once unquestioned dominance, now tempered by a newfound respect for the human race, treaded carefully, mindful of the potentially catastrophic consequences of another misstep. And the people of Earth, having emerged from the crucible of their struggle against the Imperial forces, stood ready to defend their home world, their spirit forged in the fires of adversity, and their determination to never again be caught unawares by the machinations of the Galactic Empire. The story of the human race's defiant stand against the might of the Galactic Empire would be passed down through generations, a testament to the power of resilience, innovation, and the unwavering will to protect one's home and way of life. It was a tale that would echo through the annals of history, shaping the future course of both civilizations and their interstellar relations. As the curtain fell on this chapter of the ongoing saga, the stage was set for the next, with the Galactic Empire and the human race poised to engage in a complex and delicate dance, each wary of the other's intentions, but both acutely aware that the fate of their respective worlds hung in the balance.